Cheryl and Lady wishing you a happy new year. Do you want to start vegetables this year and don't know where to start? Whether you want to save on your grocery budget, eat healthier, eat fresher, or you just want to enjoy a fun hobby outside, in this video I'll give you 5 practical tips on how to select the vegetables you want to grow.
There's nothing better on a cold, snowy day in January, after the rush of the holidays is through, to grab a cup of coffee, get cozy, and thumb through the seed catalogs. Seeing the pretty flowers in full bloom and the beautiful pictures of ripe vegetables fills me with hope for the coming spring. But then comes the inevitable, so what do I actually need to get?
If one of your New Year's resolutions is to grow vegetables this year, whether you're a complete newbie or you're a seasoned gardener, or whether you're going to grow them in containers on your patio or grow them in the ground, choosing what vegetables to grow can be confusing and complicated. So here are my 5 tips on how to choose what to plant. Tip 1, grow what you like and grow what you need.
So let's start with the produce you normally buy. What do you cook with often? Onions, garlic, celery, carrots, herbs like basil, oregano, rosemary, thyme.
What are the staples you repeatedly buy at the supermarket?
Potatoes, tomatoes, peppers, corn, peas.
What do you and your family like to eat as a side dish? My son loves cauliflower and broccoli. I love spinach and green beans, so I grow those. What do you like but you don't eat often?
Add those to your list.
What should you add to your diet for better nutrition?
Kale, beets, lettuce, chard.
Then don't forget fruit. I grow blueberries and strawberries because they grow well in my zone and we love them. Then don't forget the flowers. Flowers I like to grow are things like marigolds and nasturtium because they are very beneficial, not only to attracting pollinators, but also because they have certain beneficial effects to the vegetables around them. I love zinnias because they give me colorful bouquets for months that I can bring inside the house. And happy sunflowers. Not only do the bees love them and the squirrels and the birds, but we love eating them too, especially Frodo, who's asleep right now. So write all of that down, and now you've got your list. Tip number 2, start from seeds. Buying all your garden starts at a nursery can be extremely expensive. I start my seeds in my kitchen on a tea cart by a sunny-sided glass door without any fancy equipment like lights or heat mats. I've used leftover food containers, plastic cups, and even popsicle sticks. The startup costs don't have to be that much. Tip number 3, take inventory. So if you already have a seed collection, now is the time to sort through it and figure out what you need to buy. So I sort my seeds alphabetically, not by variety or not by season or anything like that, because I found that if I sorted it out alphabetically, when I need them at the time that I need to plant them, they're very easy to find. All right, it's a half a packet. Don't overcomplicate it. You're not going to actually count the seeds. So anyway, so just go through the box, check off what you have plenty of, and then what you don't have plenty of is what is going to be your list to order from. So I know I'm not going to plant all of this. I'm certainly not going to plant all of this in 1 year. But the point is that I have enough seeds to last me and my son if I need to, in an emergency, grow my food. And I have a mixture of hybrids and heirlooms. We'll have more about that later. But the point is, see what you can get now before the prices rise, before supply chain issues break down further. Just be confident in the fact that you have the food that you need to grow. Tip number 4, know what you can grow in your region.
Your region is unique to you. To know what you can grow, you're going to need to know your growing season, your garden zone, and your climate. Keep these things in mind to help you choose what varieties to grow. Your growing season is the number of days you have between your last spring frost and your first fall frost dates. So this is important because it tells you when you can start seeds and when you should plant them out, and also helps you pick out varieties of vegetables, especially the heat-loving plants. So for example, some tomatoes require a long growing season, and if you have a short one, they may not ripen before your first frost. But there are tomato varieties that mature quicker, so you can look for those. Your garden zone gives you the average lowest temperature in your zip code. So this is especially important when selecting perennials. For example, if you're growing a hydrangea and you want to make sure it can tolerate being outside in the winter. So climate is variables like, do you have an arid desert-like climate? Do you have a tropical climate with a lot of rain? Is it super hot and humid where you are in the summers? Or is your climate temperate and doesn't usually go, say, above 80 degrees?
Tip number 5, Google is your friend.
So a quick search of last and first frost date brings me to the Farmer's Almanac website. I enter my zip code and boom, so I have April 30th as my last frost date and October 11th as my first frost date. There are 163 days in between, and that is my growing season for my frost-tender plants. So next I Google the USDA plant hardiness zone to find my garden zone. And here's the interactive map. Entering my zip code, I find I'm in zone 7A and that my average coldest temperature is between 0 and 5 degrees. I expect my outdoor perennials are going to last me throughout the winter, so they must be able to tolerate at the least 0 to 5 degrees. And a good rule of thumb is to choose plants that will grow in about 2 zones lower to be on the safe side. So I choose something that grows at least zone 5. Going back to knowing your climate, some varieties are made for growing for your climate and some may not be. And my advice is to Google things like best tomatoes for growing in high humidity, or best lettuce for growing in hot temperatures, or best peppers for a short growing season. Because when you buy plants based on those criteria, it's going to set you up better for success.
As much as I love them, catalogs are just not practical for me to order from. It's just too complicated to circle, fold, write another list, and decide and check against this other company's catalog. Anyway, shortly I'm going to have a video put up on how I plan my garden using a software to make it easy. So hit the subscribe button and also the alert so you can see it when it becomes available.
So a quick word about seed packet labels and the terms you're going to see. First, non-GMO. It is just a label. Every seed packet you can buy as a consumer contains non-GMO seeds because only the licensed agriculture industry can even get them. So yes, they're non-GMO, but it doesn't make them better than any other seed packet you can get. Treated. If a seed is treated with anything like for fungus or insects, they have to be labeled as such, and the seeds have to be sprayed with a bright color as a warning. Those types of seeds are used mostly by the agricultural industry, but sometimes by home gardeners. Personally, I wouldn't use those types of seeds because they're not good to consume by humans or animals. Next, organic. Organic farms go through a 3-year process to get certified to prove they don't use synthetic fertilizers or pesticides. However, those processes don't really affect the seeds. The way you grow your plants will make the vegetables you eat either organic or non-organic. So don't get too caught up with the term, But by all means, support organic farms if you'd like. Finally, there's a lot of confusion about heirloom versus hybrid plant varieties. An heirloom variety means it stays true to type, so you can save the seeds and you'll get the same characteristics of the parent plant generation after generation. This was a regulation enacted decades ago so that home gardeners could be assured if they saved seeds, they'd have the same variety they planted before. A hybrid is a type of plant that has been naturally cross-pollinated with another variety of the plant to improve certain characteristics, to be more tolerant to cold or heat, to be sweeter, smaller, hotter, tastier, larger, even more resistant to certain diseases. There's a lot of benefits to growing hybrids for these reasons, but you won't be able to collect the seeds because they'll revert to the characteristics of one of the parent plants. It'll still be a pepper, for example, but not necessarily hotter or less disease tolerant or whatever you bought it for in the first place.
So I hope that my 5 tips have encouraged you to simplify your way of looking at figuring out what you would like to grow next year. And if you're on the fence about growing a garden, I hope that I've inspired you to go ahead and take the plunge, because it's not as complicated as everybody seems to make it be. And if I can do it, you can do it. And what a great thing it is to be able to put food on your family's table, especially in times that are uncertain. And that you will grow to love gardening as much as I do. Bye. Lady, say goodbye. I think that's all you're going to get. Good night.